Welcome to African Teapot Podcast. My name is Eggsy.
And my name is Lini. Join us as we journey through Africa's vast variety of culture and heritage.
We explore issues most African families face, both home and abroad. Make sure to like, share, and follow this podcast. Join the conversation on social media and let your voice be heard. Welcome, listeners. It's a brand new year, 2023. Yes. Welcome, guys. If you're new, welcome to African Teapot Podcast. As you know, I'm your humble co-host, Eggsy.
And I'm the other half of the co-host, Lini.
And
Lyris.
So Lyris is lending her voice yet again this season to kick off our very first episode. And like we said, to our returning and our die-hearted fans and listeners, welcome back to a brand new episode. And today's episode is Love from the Distance, right? So we're going to be talking about love, talking about long-distance relationships and marriages. But before we get into all of that sweet stuff, like we said, how was your holiday? Because we haven't seen you guys since December. We haven't heard or spoken to you guys since December. So let us know, how was your holiday? Some of you have been keeping up on social media, but how was your holiday? I know we are sisters, we all spend it together, but what was your perspective, Lyris?
Feeding people.
You're feeding people on holiday?
I think I keep thinking about growth for 2023.
I think you are now on the same path.
It's 2 weeks, 15 days into the new year, but I'm like, how far can I grow in 2023? Hello? Was that what you did in your holiday? The entire Christmas and New Year? You cooked and I thought. No, you ate. Basically she ate for the holidays.
Yes, and friends, family, hopefully this year 2023, new friends, new connections, networking, growth, like you said, Lini, rightfully. So all of that sweet stuff. But let us know what you guys think, and we go from there.
We might have a couple of new projects coming out, but just stay tuned for that, for announcements on African Teapot.
Of course. Thank you, Lyris. And also stay tuned till the end of this episode, because we have our love letter segment coming up for, in celebration to Valentine's.
And you almost forgot to say it. Happy Valentine's!
Of course. Valentine's is coming up in a couple of days. So on African Teapot, on social media, Instagram especially, because we are very, very active on there. On social media, let us know what your plans are, what you plan to do. And if you still have some of those shout-outs, please don't be embarrassed to DM us, and reply to those messages when we get back to you. Sometimes you guys write, and then when we ask questions, you guys shy away from it. We do not divulge your information. No personal information is given out here. So it can be totally anonymous if you want to, guys.
Let your voice be heard. I want to hear it. I want to feel it. I want to know it.
Okay, so that being said, let's get into our episode. Lini, yes. So Lini, you want to let us know what we're talking about today, or how we're going to kick into this stuff?
Oh, like you said, it's long distance relationships.
Yes. It's actually titled Love Across Distance.
Yeah. So it's long distance relationships. It's not just Africans, but African Teapot, we're making it specific, but pretty much
anyone can relate.
Yeah. Anyone can actually relate to this.
Before we begin, I'm sure a lot of people like to know any people with long distance relationships in this room.
Yeah. What we're trying to say is, what is long distance relationship in the first place?
I was just coming from a side of.
Are you in a long distance relationship?
No, I'm not in right now, or have been actually. I'm not.
We are getting into that.
Is there something you're trying to tell us?
Yeah.
No.
Maybe you were your sisters, and we don't know
Okay,
you've been in a
guys,
long distance relationship.
Let's just keep going. I didn't realize I have to say that at some point, but okay.
All right. Okay, sister. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyways, guys. So, what is long distance relationship actually?
I would say a long distance relationship is when you're dating someone who is not physically there, like it's across a distance. It could be, but guys, I'm not going to say him living like 6 minutes down the street counts, okay?
No.
Some people I would think it's I would personally think of it like something where you have to travel to see the person.
Yeah, I have to travel 6 minutes.
Where you have to travel for hours.
I mean, so what about 45 minutes? That's a long drive, and if I don't drive.
Did you hear when I said hours?
Guys, thank you. So we are keeping this. Long distance means there has to be a distance, and I think it's when there is limitation of physical contact with somebody. If you're not seeing somebody, if there are limitations to it, which is strictly distance, then that's what a long distance relationship is. Therefore, that term distance and long, right?
Yep.
And relationship. And it also means that both of you know that you are in a relationship. Right? Lini?
I mean, I would hate for you to be calling it a long distance relationship
when you're just the only one thinking it. So both parties, all three or more, you have polygamy and stuff,
Yeah.
So if all of you know it's long distance, you're in a relationship, but we know distance is an issue, then you are in a long distance relationship. Brothers and sisters, if you're listening and you just figured out, I just thought about it, and you just figured that out now, oops, you're in a long distance relationship. Anyways, all jokes aside, do you know? Yeah.
It's more like a joke. Let's just say I'm dating someone in Dallas, but traffic takes me 3 hours to get to them.
As we were saying, what was the next question, Edna?
Guys, all right.
By the way, I'm not dating anybody in Dallas. That was just a difficult scenario.
Edna, Lyris, is there any part of your life you want to keep divulging?
I'm not divulging my
All
life.
right, thank you.
You
Edna,
know,
what's
people
the next
listening
part?
sometimes will be like, what you said is true. They will think that, right?
About what?
Like, when you say Dallas or what, they'll be like, oh, yeah, she's in a relationship.
Oh, no, I'm not in a relationship, guys. I'm strictly single. For life!
That
was a joke. That
yeah.
was a joke,
A
guys.
joke that we are laughing at now. Ha, 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 ha.
Okay, you know
Okay,
what?
anyways, now let's actually get into this. Do you know of any long distance relationships? And when we say relationships, we are not only talking of dating, marriages.
Yes.
Long
I would
distance
think
relationship.
every African knows of a long distance relationship or
Yep.
marriage.
I mean, our parents did long distance marriage for a while. Yeah, so in fact, I know a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of family members and neighbors and stuff are into long distance marriages and relationship. I don't know. Lyris is making faces, so it's funny.
So I'm gonna keep it rolling because we can't seem to get past Lyris' face. When you think of a long distance relationship, what do you think keeps the relationship going? Like
Communication.
It's 3 years. Yeah.
I would say just probably you have to maybe do a lot of texting. If you're not a texter, then they will probably make out time to call each other. Or not make out time, so people are already in a flow. They don't feel like you should not feel like you're making out time. But
You should just flow.
You should just flow with it. But I just have to use the words to convey the message. I would also say, actually, let me leave it to the rest to say some other stuff that I'm thinking about.
I think maybe these days, technology does a lot to keep
FaceTime.
long distance relationships. I know this is guys, disclaimer. Okay, this is going to sound, but I think people now have virtual, intimate things happening via phone.
Sexting.
Sexting is one of them,
Or
and other stuff, guys.
yeah,
I mean,
just if you want to know for your personal purposes, research.
or DM us.
Or hit us up in the DMs.
Yes. Slide into a DMs and be like, okay, guys, what are those intimate things people can do via technology? And those things come with risk, by the way, which is a completely different conversation from today.
Oh, yeah.
It has its own risk of using, technology and being intimate. We are not saying, we are not here to say the right way for relationships to work or the wrong way. That's just a disclaimer, actually. We are just saying those things that make relationships, long distance relationships, things that we think sustain that relationship or do not sustain the relationship, right?
And I feel like to keep a long distance relationship, you need to trust the other person. If I don't trust you, like it's my not to each other for 3 years. If I don't trust you, then no one's keeping it.
Facts.
Money.
I mean, you need the money to pay the flight to get where you need to go.
No,
So,
but
money.
if he's giving you the money to pay the flight and still giving you money to take care of yourself, hey.
But it still comes
Then
with a
that's
level
not-
of trust.
yeah.
Because I need to trust that when I give you the money, you're actually going to buy the ticket.
Yeah, I will come see you. But out of that, if you give me money to take care of myself, thank you for your
Lyrics.
services.
Again, let's say something. We're talking about serious
Relationships.
Guys, I'm trying to be funny with you, but these girls are not feeling it today. So I'll be on my best behavior.
No. Okay. Anyways.
What else do we think keep relationships going?
Like you said, trust. I believe loyalty goes along because you want to believe that whoever you're in a relationship
And then
with is loyal to you.
One, love.
Love is not enough.
Isn't that amazing that we started saying long distance relationship and nobody said love?
Because personally, I believe love is not enough to keep a long distance relationship.
Facts, true.
And love kind of consists, all those things kind of bunch onto love.
I mean, and again, love is important, but I feel like you need more than love to keep it going. And you do need more than trust. You kind of need a little bit of everything.
Yeah. It's kind of like making a pot of party stew. You need the oil.
And you need the party.
And you need people that will vibe.
May I just add, I was not the one who digressed from the
It's so
topic
we
that
can
I had.
digress. This is a metaphor. I'm comparing long distance relationship and what sustains it to a
Party
pot
stew.
of party stew.
I'll compare your marriage to that.
God forbid. Anyways, communicate on and all of that. Okay, so why do we think most Africans practice long distance relationships or marriages? Because we all say we know a lot of people. You know, why do we think that?
Okay.
We can start from our parents.
I would say, I mean, I don't...
No, I'm just
If
trying to
we
give
keep it-
everyone
okay,
the perspective
I just want
that...
to give it like a broad perspective. I don't
Yeah.
want to limit it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's unintentional. Some people it's intentional, but some of them are unintentional. You guys are married and you go to look for greener pastures. You get school admission. You get work somewhere else. It could be anything. So half of those are intentional. I've been dating you for 2 years or whatever now, and you.
Or we've been married.
Yeah.
You
get a job that's 6 hours away.
And it pays the bills.
And it pays well. Maybe I need to stay here because I'm still doing school. I need to stay with the kids. Maybe there's that.
Right.
And you need to go. So then it's unintentional. They didn't mean to get into it, but at that time it's the best option they have.
True. Actually, you summed it up pretty nicely.
Yeah.
Where it's... I really can't add much to it. It's...
Oh wow. I feel so...
No, I feel like all of those things happen. Most often, people, in as much as we have that little percentage that choose, instead of them ending relationships, because someone said this on African Teapot, right? When I put the survey going on there, somebody said some people choose to be in long distance relationships because they want to fade out of the actual relationship. So there are people who've taken jobs far away because they don't want to break up with you.
I guess
There are people who've taken admissions in schools far away because they want to take breaks from their marriages.
True.
You understand? So that also brings a different dynamic to
I
it.
was gonna say that, but again, they would have said I'm the bearer of bad news. So
No,
I just didn't say it.
but I think that's a factor. Some people, like, it's happened to a friend I know. That is the way they fade.
Right.
And why? Okay, that the breaking up is a conversation for another episode.
Yes.
It seems like that'll take it too far. But getting a job, I feel like that's a drastic move to break up with someone.
Okay,
It is,
personally, I feel like some people are cray, and if I need to run, I will run.
I mean,
Also, I just think that if someone was really thinking about getting a job, I might as well just get a job in some other place. It could be a new adventure. Sometimes it's not that far of a stretch from what you really want to do. If I wanted to travel, hey, I might as well travel to another continent, not another country in the US.
That's
Still
true.
traveling. So it's all just based on what they think will work for them. And
Right.
if you're willing to take on the sunk cost.
And in a pure African sense, do you know why some people do long distance? There's someone in America, good opportunities, and you're back home, and
Yeah.
well,
I mean,
you
they are
all
a
know-
catch. They are
Yeah,
they are
you-
better. Yeah. They're a good catch.
You marry for a leg up, like you.
Yeah.
That is literally what it is.
Or
Like you're
some
marrying
people
up.
marry the other way because they say some other people are bad.
Well,
Oh,
Lyris,
yeah.
let's clarify that. Let's actually put it so it's clear.
Yeah.
Some people would leave the United States. We are using this because we're here. But the Western world, let's use that. They would leave the Western world and go back to marry from home countries. For us, let's say Cameroon.
Yeah.
We'll go to marry back in Cameroon because they feel
A good girl.
or especially for men. Because you rarely really hear it a lot amongst women. Is men. They want to go back and marry like, oh, I'm going to get a more respectable girl back home. I'm going to get a girl who hasn't been around.
Who embodies the culture of what I grew up with.
Yes, she's not going to be rude. And sometimes it's like, well, she wouldn't be talking. The ones back home are not going to get divorces more. Have you heard that one too?
Oh yeah, that's a new one too.
Yeah, oh, she's not going to, oh, no, she's not into this whole feminist thing. Like you hear things like that. And so people go the distance to look for love because there is a belief, as Lyris said, that it's better back home than where they're living.
And then the one I was talking about, to clarify so everyone understands, a girl back home now from the girl's side will marry a guy in America because I want to go to America.
Right.
I want a better life for myself. I want a better education for myself. They've promised me all these things. That is why some people back home will marry people here. Like there's all of those benefits that they see when they see this marriage. So it's a long distance marriage, but some people marry with the hope of not keeping it long distance as well.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, I don't know if they just marry and
Some people are
confused.
kind of obligated. I don't want to use the word forced, but some people are. But some people are literally, I guess I'm going to use it, forced to get married. That they haven't fulfilled, or they are not. You are not a man. You are not a woman.
If you haven't
gotten married. So they marry, I don't know, the first person that comes along, second, third,
and sometimes
somebody.
they make it long distance so they avoid
each other.
being with the person.
Literally.
right.
Yeah.
And that's literally what that, because she was saying, she said she dated this guy for 4 years and he just got up one day and said he's moving. And she was like, okay, moving for, he said, a better job came. And then when he moved, the phone calls just, cut off.
He
and
didn't
just,
know
so
how to leave you after 4 years.
yeah, because she's like, oh, the family knew each other. I'm like, oh yeah, she just kind of faded off. So he just faded off. And so some people, which is maybe the whole thing of accountability is going to come up. People don't want to be accountable, or they don't want to give you closure because they are timid, right? They are timid sometimes. Sometimes they are unsure themselves. They don't know what to say. They fear of facing the truth, right? Me telling you that I'm breaking up with you means
Or
I'm facing it.
Some people are just
Heartless.
pure So yeah, because some people are actually just, there's no reason behind the hurt.
Yeah,
that
the hurt,
they actually
yeah.
give out. I just didn't want to. It's about me. So be careful with our narcissists out here.
Oh, yeah.
Are we done with the reasons?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So now, moving on from that, what difficulties do long-distance relationships face, would you guys say?
Distance.
I would say physical intimacy.
Exactly. Distance.
Yeah.
That was what I meant. That's what I'm
No,
trying
yeah,
to
no,
say.
no, just helping you.
True. There is mistrust a lot of the time,
Because you keep wondering, like,
What are they doing?
What are they doing?
especially
Are they
if it's
actually-
for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And then sometimes if you guys were, sometimes this also plays a factor. When you guys were already close and then that break comes, it also plays a dynamic to it versus people who just met online. Because if I just met you online, sometimes I feel like it's the physical aspect in it, yet it's more like there's an anticipation to when it's going to happen. But that person who they were together and then they separated, there is that missing it. So you keep, and then maybe
It's
you know
almost
how.
like a new relationship.
Yeah.
And I'll ask a question. Would you consider this long distance? I don't know. Some people would date each other and then kind of just fly to each other's house every other month, so they're never actually not ever together.
But
Oh, okay. You are, let's say you live in Dallas and she's in
UK or something.
Yeah. But what you guys do is you guys fly to each other's house. You guys take turns in each other's house, like September here, October here, November here,
Yes.
December there. Is that a
Is that a long distance relationship? So they're never actually not together.
Oh, wow.
But
I guess there they just have the distance, but they've actually covered the distance.
So it is. I wouldn't necessarily. Think,
I wouldn't necessarily think that at that point you would say long distance because you've conquered the aspect of distance in yours. So now everything is in place because the intimacy is there, right? The communication is there. You know, everything is flowing. So pretty much, you know, I would say you're not in that thinking. I would say you're not. Because long distance means that distance is such a hindrance. But maybe they would tell you they want to see each other every day. Who knows? I have every second of the day. I wouldn't, but who knows? There are people like that.
You know, one thing I would think is a problem with long distance relationships, when you see a guy or a girl and you see her friends, her family, it almost gives you an idea of what this person is. You get to see the whole person, the whole picture, her different dynamics.
Yes.
But when you're talking to this person long distance, I can sell you whatever I have to for the hour I talk to you.
Oh, true.
I can prep everybody around me when you come to visit.
But if you're with me consecutively,
You're gonna let your guard
can
down.
prep 365 days a year. Something's gonna happen.
Or someone's gonna, our African people gossip. Not that other people don't gossip.
No, it's
Yeah,
facts.
But you
It's
hear
facts.
something,
Yeah.
you see someone at Walmart or a friend of at Walmart, something, a comment on, when you're just in the same vicinity, usually you bump into the same people and you hear things.
And you make connections not only with your partner, but like
Your
Uni
partner's
said,
friends and
partners,
stuff like
friends, and family.
Right.
And it gives you a little window to who that person is.
But then when if you guys get to marriage, you begin to see things about this person. Oh, this is how many times you talk to your friends on the phone in a day. She spends 6 hours on the phone. You didn't know that. Oh, hey, this is how you and your friends hang out. You didn't know that. All of these
True.
things you didn't know, and now you're seeing this in the marriage. So to me, I think this translates to divorce.
Yes.
Or all these marriages where there's confusion, family starts stepping in, friends are stepping in, there's confusion the first couple of years. It's because you're marrying the person on the phone, and now you're living with me. You're like, that's how you put your clothes. That's how you do
I would
that.
say it could. I have some people who say they would date someone, and even without long distance, they have to live for you for at least 3 months for the marriage, 2 months, 1 month. I think I'd like us to do an extended sleepover because, if you are an extremely messy person, I need to know that this one I'm getting into and ask you if there's something you're willing to fix, because I will break off an aging relationship.
True. Okay, I also have this. Coming contrary from you, right? I'm just going to play this advocate on the side. I also believe that people can live separate lives in separate homes. And if I already have access to you, now this is not like long distance, right? I'm just saying now in general. If I can visit you anytime I want, I can pop up anytime I want. I don't necessarily have to stay with you for 3 months or 6 months to know who we are. Because if I pop up in your house on a Monday or Tuesday, I'm going to know if you're a messy person, if you're an organized person, because you have somebody who is neat, but they're messy, right?
Yes.
You have someone who is dirty. You just have someone who is just a dirty. They don't do their laundry, like you're just dirty. You have someone who eats a lot. You have someone who is a picky eater, you see. But I don't necessarily think if you're dating someone, you must live with that person for an extended period of time to get to know that person. But if it's long distance, I get it, because when I travel a distance, I have to live with you, right? If it's 2 weeks, a month or 2, live with you to get to know you. But if I'm living 30 minutes from your house or 20, I don't need to move in with you for 3 months before you tell me to marry you.
And it can go both ways. You can do like I'm saying, pop up, see what you're doing, or extended sleepover.
Which is 3 days
Or
2 days.
1 week.
But even
You wanna
people who
be
live
sure.
together, live close to each other, still do that. I come to your house before you realize
No,
we're hanging out, and then I
That's
sleep
what-
over.
That's what I mean.
We're just saying that everybody has a different approach to something. So it's okay if you want to do an extended sleepover. You don't want to do it on, like Edna is saying, just pop up or whatnot. Or like some other people prefer that I know, 3 months before you get married, 2 months, a month. It's all
A
up to
year?
you. A year. What works for you?
Oh yeah, talking about this, I just remembered. Some people are also, like you guys kind of mentioned it, some people are in long distance relationships because, like you said, they are forced. When I got into the relationship with you, now you're changing while I'm already in the marriage. I can't, in our culture, you can't just leave marriage like that, right? So now we have kids. Now you have a husband that suddenly isn't just coming home. He travels and he's just coming less and less home. Like, you understand? He's just distancing himself. So it's not like I chose to be in a long distance relationship. Now I'm with a partner that is just, you get what I'm saying? They don't care. Now, you get what I'm saying? So there is actually that aspect of the unknown. I am dating somebody, and it goes to every relationship, but I think it's even worse for long distance. True, you're dating this person, you just don't really know, because they can just wake up and it's the unknown. I don't know it. And it's even worse when the person is long distance versus when you're close to you.
Yeah.
I thought so. Yeah.
Point.
Okay.
What you said.
Now, moving on. Would you say, we did a poll, actually, on African Teapot, we did. On Instagram, guys, keep up with our stories. Trust me, keep up with our stories. Always have some interesting polls running up there. Anyways, would you say people in courtship and people in marriages experience the same issues?
What is courtship? Dating, relationship?
Yeah, just dating, not married.
Okay. So it means like your fiance or
Maybe fiance, boyfriend, girlfriend,
okay.
yeah.
Not necessarily. I think there's a lot more at stake when you're married. So when you're dating, I'm not saying that it's easy to just go in and out or something, but I think that just the commitment part in terms of you're married, this is especially for people who think that this is. Some people think, I'll just get a divorce. Some people like me, if I marry you, I'm not going anywhere, so we will have to deal with each other. I feel like, it's, to me, the commitment is just more binding, which makes everything riskier.
Right. What do you think, Lena?
Okay, so I feel like when you're in this marriage / when you're in a relationship or whatever, courtship, as Edna is saying, there's some independence in your courtship / relationship. I don't feel like daily things are run by someone, but literally when you're in a marriage, it's almost like everything is run by someone.
Of course.
Literally, even the grocery list is run by someone. Bills are run by someone. The car you're taking out is not run by someone, but it's a communication thing. You guys agree on it.
It's like two people being one.
I feel like half of the problems that pop up in marriages don't pop up in relationships, because I'm in my house. I eat cereal 24/7. That's okay. Now I'm in your house, and all of a sudden,
I'm party stew.
All of a sudden, you're even looking at the groceries and you're like, okay, I only eat organic or something like that. Which relationship is easier? You're coming over to my house today. I know you like rice.
It's easy to treat you.
I'll cook the rice today. That's fine. But maybe me, I eat fufu 5 days. You eat rice 5 days. Now we're together. We're like, okay, let's figure this out. So that sense of independence in a relationship, I feel like if you're not willing or to give that up when you're in a marriage and make it codependent, it usually needs to be codependent. Then that's
on
the
each
problem.
other.
You're holding on to it. Okay, now it's almost like you're living your life. I'm living my life. Then we choose what to share.
Right.
So now when we have kids, are we going to choose what to parent with them?
No. Definitely marriage is, you're right. Marriage definitely.
I usually get, sorry, like cut you off? I think I did.
Yeah, I was just trying to say, when in the poll, right, 68% of our African listeners felt that marriage takes a lot more than courtship.
It does.
Right. Some, I think 20% believe that nobody respects any relationship, period. Whether you are in a courtship or marriage, there are people that just don't. To them, it's like, it can break or not break, right? So you can divorce or not divorce. You can break or not break. No, I'm just saying that. I'm just saying those were the results that were there. So most 20% were kind of like, a lot of people were more like marriages take a lot more to maintain and sustain versus relationship, which is what we are all saying anyways. We're all agreeing. And then there was a certain percentage of people, small, but it was enough, right, to bring up that conversation here, that a lot of people really, even if they marry you, they are not going into it thinking what we are saying right now.
I mean,
they are thinking it's a relationship. I've just chosen to sign a legal paper.
Because it's not like I'm saying it needs to be a 360 person with different personalities. I feel like when you're in a relationship and then when you get married, there will be a difference.
Right.
It's not like a whole different person, but it's a little difference here and a little difference there. Now, when you get married and your life flawlessly continues the same way, either you were someone who in the relationship, you guys were so serious, you guys were already in the marriage flow.
Yeah.
Then there's no change.
But
if you were not in that flow and you're still not in that flow now, then what's happening?
You're basically
True.
getting the same person in your house.
Exactly.
Right.
It's pretty much courtship.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying again, devil's advocate. When I saw that, the first thing that popped in my head is when you marry someone who is not a right fit for marriage. So you take somebody who looks at they pretty much just look at man and woman in terms of we are in a relationship. So this is a piece of paper, right? You and I are going to be flowing the same way we were flowing as dating, right? I'm just dating you. The difference now is we've signed this paper that says marriage. I don't have to change and you don't have to change. And that's what I'm saying is that the people, that poll, those people are trying to say there is no respect for it because I am not seeing like this institution is so different that I should treat it differently from how I was treating you when we were in the dating world. Why should I be treating you any different now that we're married, simply because we signed a piece of paper?
But you know what I have to add there? When you make someone marry you, what do you expect?
Exactly. No, they were expecting the same thing.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but I'm like, when someone is not ready for marriage and you keep bringing up marriage, and they are like, fine, let's get married. Guess what?
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous because you're not there. You are, but you're not.
And I know some people who, which I think is sad, just get married because they want a wedding. I've literally heard it a couple of times.
Oh, that happens to women. Yeah.
They just want a wedding. Okay. Just want to waste my money, I guess.
And
That's literally what's happening.
When you come to these long distance people, and especially Africans and stuff, the only way you guys will be together is if you guys get married before the family be like, okay, now you're good to go this distance to be with this person.
Oh,
now,
that's another thing too.
It's almost like the marriage was an agreement, was kind of like a compromise for like, okay, I want to be with you, but I cannot go across the river for you without anything, so you marry me. Now,
it's like a guarantee.
Now we're here, and were you ready for marriage, or were you just ready to be with this person, and then out of pressure you marry?
And people don't, before they want to travel, which goes what she's saying, I was never a fan of the idea that show somebody before you leave, show a girlfriend, show a man before you leave. I don't understand where that is coming from. Some people see that it's fine, but I don't know why I have to show you someone before I travel.
I think sometimes it also works with the... Okay, go ahead. Actually, I think...
I wanted to clarify what you said so everyone understands. What you're talking about is when you want to travel out of like Cameroon and your parents or family members say, bring a girl or a guy and show, so we at least know someone, so that if anything happens, you'll marry them.
Yes.
That's what she meant. So continue.
Yeah, because you just jumped into it, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
So what I'm trying to say is, I don't think it's in every aspect that happens, because sometimes I think it happens sometimes based off of the age of the person who is leaving. Because you are leaving your family to a new world and culture, sometimes your family has that fear that you may go. One, you need to understand you may never return.
I understand that.
Wait, I'm just trying to give her the reasons.
Other person is a scapegoat.
I hear you. I'm just giving the reasons why.
Serious, but the only reason you brought me home,
guys, I'm just playing the devil's advocate.
I know. I'm just saying something, but I'm like, the only reason you brought me home is because they told you to bring someone home.
And
not
honestly,
you brought
somebody
me
that
home.
you knew maybe in 4 years, you might not feel the same way. Distance sometimes can break things. And
not sometimes. Distance actually changes. No, you know what I said? Distance changes.
I was saying break.
Okay.
Breaks things where someone's like, I'm not interested. What if someone goes somewhere and finds a better match? The thing is, I've seen some people who are now basically being forced to marry the person that you made me show you before I left. And to me, I found someone who is more suitable to me and my life at this moment with what I've achieved. And now it's a family fight to get married.
True.
So I
True.
just think...
True, but I also think that it plays differently in if you're living with a woman and she's had 2-3 kids with you, and you suddenly say you want to travel, and your family says, well, make things legal with her,
I mean,
and
I
protect
get
those
that
kids.
part.
That part
Yes.
is totally no.
Yes.
I'm just trying to clarify for people listening, because sometimes to be like, well, I mustn't marry the person that I have kids with. But I'm pretty sure if you have 3 kids with a lady that you've not legally signed documents with, it's not just a security for that lady, it's also for the children that you have, right? Because the only person that is there at the time is the woman, and these kids are growing maybe with an absent father in terms of long distance.
Sometimes if you have a little bit of compassion, I'll say, just put yourself in that person's shoes. Because you were there 3 times for a reason. Just think, if I were
3
that
kids.
person, how would I feel?
Right.
Like, sometimes people are so removed that you have no ounce of compassion sometimes to see what you're doing. I'm sorry, I just feel like I've heard some stories that these things usually it's a little bit kind of sad, because you leave somebody 3 kids and you just leave. You hear they're married somewhere else with other kids. Like, come on now. I think let's try to have hearts.
Like, the long distance has advantages and disadvantages, because long distance, sometimes you go to find opportunities for you and the family. It's hard for you to uproot maybe young kids and something all at the same time. You go to like pave the way,
Right.
But at the same time, if you find people paving the way and they enter this world of deceit,
Right.
and where you're hurting the person you left behind. Long distance relationship.
Or the
what's
person
up?
you left behind. This is something I've also told people. The person you left behind moves on.
True.
Yep.
You can travel out and you go back and she's remarried. And sometimes the communication is just like, it's bad. Because you've seen influences, maybe I'm having flashbacks of Nollywood movies. You know, like...
there's never a cell phone.
Yeah, like, I'm like, what? There were letters, guys. You have I went and I thought the movie would tell you like 5 years later, this girl was being stigmatized, being castigated because maybe she has a kid with this guy, or she's rejecting suitors and she's waiting for chooks to come back from abroad, or odoboibo, as they say it. And then Chooks comes back after 5 years, and the movie portrays like that is such a happy ending for that girl, right? It's like it's portraying there that women should stay steadfast, right? To men who have traveled out and promised them marriage. But yet this same culture is a culture that promotes a woman getting married at her prime and reproducing. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, do you stay true to this man because we women, we are seen within the culture that you have to be loyal to a man even when he is not married to you? That's another aspect we don't understand. The moment we are in a relationship,
there should always be loyalty on both parts. But what you're trying to say is, in our culture, you feel like women are held to more accountability
in terms of loyalty,
than
right?
men are.
Nobody is questioning this guy. Like, okay, if you travel, what methods are you going to use to communicate? What methods are you how are we going to communicate so that I know that you're okay and fine and you come back, than just sitting there and being blindly being loyal to a man who is now married to someone else, or returns with someone else, or goes and has a completely different family somewhere else, and you're sitting there and it's like, oh, since somebody left, they haven't sent you an email, they haven't sent you this. You didn't know his family to go ask his family, like, okay, your kid left. Are you trying to tell me you don't know where your kid is? And then the movies will portray it like he comes back and then it's like, this girl wasn't patient to wait for the guy. I wouldn't be patient for 5 years without communication. I wouldn't be patient for 5 years without communication, waiting for a man that his family know. Like, there's just no communication between his family and my family. How do I wait for you then? That's just what I'm saying. So marriage is, and I just feel like in marriage is totally different, because marriage entails sacrifice. That's for me personally. But in relationships, I don't think, you are compromising in relationships towards
some people do
whatever.
sacrifice for relationships.
I've seen it, but most often when you hear the stories, it comes back to bite you who sacrificed. You've had a man who sacrificed to send a young lady to school, right? And then the moment she's educated, she gets married to somebody else.
But guys, of course, it's not all the time.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Like, we know it's not all the time. She's just bringing out these problems with this long distance relationship.
Yeah, because sometimes that's why it doesn't work. And then these things scare people from also doing it the next time. But most often, when you see in our African communities, when you see long-distance relationships succeeding, most often there is extreme loyalty. Most often, I'm not saying all the time, from women.
But I mean, some of the men too are extremely loyal.
Yes, this is what I'm trying to say. From the perspective of back home. When you look, because when I went and looked at the data and the survey, it said there, a lot of African women with kids are waiting for men abroad to return and come back. But most men that their wives travel abroad, right? These men are left back home to wait for the lady to go bring greener pastures. When she's returning, he's remarried or he's had kids with other people. Most often the men will move on, but women kind of stay. Yeah.
But you know we would, Abby.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes I'm like, if we have the same number of women traveling and leaving husbands behind, how come when these women come back, they have to fight out another woman living in that home or other kids? But a man would travel and come back and meet his wife with the kids there.
Yep.
So the numbers are staggering. Like the disparity is wide, that it's wide enough for a conversation. So something is going on there. So what are those things that we think causes these long distance relationships to fail?
I mean,
marriages. Let's start with marriages.
Like it's kind of what we have already said. They fail because of the distance, loyalty. I feel like it's kind of what we
cheating. A lot of it,
like you said, cheating.
Infidelity was the number one.
Do you know? Sorry, I know this is digressing a little bit. Do you know something I don't get? Which people say it's fine. You're in America. You were with a girlfriend back home. You come to America. You've been here alone. You've been here a long time. You go back. You marry the woman. You come back on your own. Mm-hmm. You travel back. Be with her. She's pregnant. You come back on your own. So, what? You just don't want to be together permanently? Because some people don't have the means to bring the person. That I get. We have to make sacrifices for greener pastures. Right. I'm talking about the people who have the ability to bring them.
And they just deliberately
don't.
And
why?
And I have another question following to that. I know it's rather than an answer, I have a question.
No, it's fine.
Would you say that person is being a husband then to that lady? Like, when that person says, I've been married for 10 years, are you actually married for 10 years because you are more apart?
My question is...
Then you are together with that person.
My question is, I'll take the question back to the lady. What did you tell him were your expectations? Because if you're still there, after all these years, apparently he's being a husband to you because you're still there. But if I believe you're not being a husband to me, I need you to explain this. If I've set my rules on the table, like, hey, this is a marriage, this is what I expected to have, and you tell me there's absolutely no way you can give that to me ever. The problem, I feel like, is we don't say anything. We keep hoping, oh, he'll do it. No. Ask him. It's been 5 years. We're not together. What is happening? Let him tell you to your face then, this is what we will keep doing. If that is a deal breaker for you, leave. But don't hope it will happen. And that's one thing. Women in our culture, we're quiet, we are submissive, which is not bad.
We have been taught to shut up to the point that someone wants something, they don't say anything, and we are hoping. He's not magically going to read your mind. And sometimes they know, and I'm choosing to act oblivious because I do not want to do it, so they'll never do it.
Yeah.
So I think another thing we have to kind of help with our culture is you asking for things you want in a marriage that's lasting your entire lifetime.
And let me come from the guy's place too. Hey, you seem all happy. When I call you, you're happy. I come back home, you're happy. You never complain. Why would I do anything other than what I've been doing?
Exactly.
And I have a theory. I don't know if this is a theory, but it's what I think. I think most often it's because marriage is sold to us as young girls as being the ultimate happy dream. The happy after.
Married.
Yeah. So you are married. Yay! Everything has settled. You have the kids for your husband. You are not seen as the B word. In Africa, I would say barren. Right? You are not seen as the woman when you have kids for him. So persevere. Sacrifice. You see? That's what marriage is. It's your husband. You can't leave. It's for, good or bad. For better, for worse. So we are sold that. That's why, again, I still go to Nollywood movies because I believe that it's one of the ways that we use to sensitize a lot of people, right? Because the amount of movies we consume as Africans, Nollywood, what we consume in Africa, it's staggering. And when you watch a movie, I'm like, if thousands and millions of people are watching this movie where this girl spends her entire life and they say she's humble, but yet that movie to me is portraying her as being someone who never stood up for herself, who never faced her identity. She was oppressed even by her stepmother, by her half siblings. She never had a voice. And then this guy comes and marries her, and the movie gives this idea. I think even the Western world does it. Gives this idea like, oh, she's married and everything is fine. So the movies never portray in marriage, you have to navigate issues in marriage, right? So now this girl sits like, well, he married me, so he did a favor. I am one of the lucky ones that got a husband. So now what my mom told me is, I can't make this husband leave. How is that person going to call that husband and say, hey, right? We need to do this, or this is what I expect. They don't. Because when you go, they'll be like, shh, when your husband comes, cook for him. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with cooking for a husband, but what I'm trying to say is the roles of who a wife and mother is and who a father and husband is, they have to be defined. When we are telling young girls that this is what marriage is, we should be telling young men that this is what marriage is from the perspective of what they are supposed to do, not what they should just expect from women. Because they tell us women what to do, and then they tell the man what to expect from a woman, right? And then his duty is just provide. So a man travels to America, he's sending money back home, and to him he's providing, and he expects this wife to be loyal. Guys, intimacy to your wife is part of your responsibility and duty. That is, providing is also that. You have to provide that intimate need, right? To the woman, you have to provide physical, emotional support, every spiritual support to your wife and kids. So if it's long distance, you have to have that conversation so you fulfill those roles. Both man and woman, both wife and husband. Not just the wife doing it and then the man just says, well, I provide. I work 3 jobs and I provide. That's true, but you're providing in one area and the rest is struggling. Hence, the marriages break. Well, at least that's what we think over here on African Support. The marriages are breaking. No, for real. I think I went on a tirade right there. Yeah, I went on and on, but it's just frustrating when you watch movies or you listen to people talk, like Lyris is saying, and you're just like, what? So you didn't tell him what you're expecting from this marriage?
Yep. Because you are not told to have any expectations. Your job is to please him.
Like
You are lucky to have found him, so be happy.
Yeah, you would ask a girl, how many kids do you want? I don't know. My husband and I would decide. No, what do you want? So that when he says 6 and then you say 3, you guys meet in the middle. Like what? Like 0. I just know I want a man who's gonna have money, so he provides. Providing is more than just money. When you get into the marriage, then you figure out it's a lot more than that. And before you guys come chewing that we are not married on here, we are coming from the perspective that we have married parents. I'm just going to say that. I don't have to be married to know. I've seen my parents, and that's the biggest example I will use. I've seen where they thrive and where they struggle, right?
And you know what? When you talk about long distance relationships, you find people meeting that would never have met. Like someone from Germany marrying someone in Zimbabwe.
Yep.
Long distance actually brings the most unlikely people together.
Especially
and
when
then long distance help people stay together. Before, maybe you moving would have been a deal breaker, but technology has made it to where we can keep this relationship going.
Right.
Like, if you are determined, you can
That's
keep.
so true.
If you are determined, you have 3 days off. Hey, fly there. Maybe you save every dollar you have, so you can go there every 3 months. If you're determined to make this work, it will work. So long distance is not a deal breaker. It's just, are you willing to go the distance? Oh wow.
Yeah. That's a good one. I ready to go. Wow, Lini. That was good.
But that's the thing. Are you willing to go the distance to be with this person? Are you willing to stand everything? Like, it's not easy. But if you want to, you will. Like, when I said love is not enough, it's because love is not... I'm not saying it's not important. But love literally isn't enough for long-distance relationships. I can love you.
But if I don't have the time to show you, how would you even know?
How would you even know that I love you?
So you need to use time. You need to create time. And somebody's like, well, I don't have time. Nobody has an extra amount of time on the clock. We all have 24 hours. If A is making it work, B is going to make it work. And it has to be sacrificed. But people want to be in long distance relationship and still get it. You see what I'm saying? No, if you're in a long distance relationship and you choose to keep someone to wait on you, trying to be faithful may be one of those things you have to deal with, but it's a sacrifice.
Can I ask a question? People in long distance relationships where you guys are not engaged, there's nothing. What do you so if I call in and I'm like, hey, I've met someone here who is close to me, I'm with them. Wait, I don't.
That's the risk, and that's why we said the
unknown.
unknown.
Like, you are not here with me, so if I call you in 3 days, I'm like, I've met someone here who I'm close to. We never talked about marriage. We just like to earn where we're going. Now I met someone who I now love. What's going to happen?
What? She definitely hurt you and broke your heart.
Yeah.
That's just what that is.
So that was cheating.
Pretty much.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Wait,
definitely.
I just with somebody without cheating.
You have.
It just fell into your lap? I guess.
Well, it depends, because some people may find themselves being drawn to someone else and they don't want it to proceed with them being here. So they're going to tell you, I've met someone and I want to, you understand, I feel a strong connection with them. I really like them a lot and I want to move there. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have taken that step on cheating. But majority of the time, I just feel like when you're in a marriage and you're already kind of been tricky about your time, your commitment and stuff, of course you're going to meet somebody else, because if you're not giving that time via phone, like we said, to your wife, like Lily said, FaceTime, internet, WhatsApp calls that are free now. If you are not investing that time in caring for your wife and kids, then definitely you are investing it on something else, right? What are you investing it on? The friends in the Western world you went out with? What, are they female? What? You understand? If I like Lyris and I suddenly cut the time I spend with Lyris to bond more with Lyris, what does that mean? I'm giving that time to something else.
Yeah.
Definitely. If you're not bringing in more money, you're not bringing in more time, so clearly it means you're not putting in that time at work. So where are you putting in the time? With someone else, right? Be it male or female, but you are prioritizing somebody else. I just think you need to, like I say, you need to recognize the needful. Just recognize what you have to do and you do it. Most of the times, then these long distance relationships will work. And one other question I have, when do you say this is the time? Because that's another poll we did on African Teapot, right? When do you say this is the time for me to cut it off?
In a long-distance relationship?
Yeah, like when do you, and what are those things that you notice that tell you that, hey, okay, this is it?
I honestly think it comes down to if you're not getting what you need.
Like, what is the deal breaker for you?
What is the point of being
Maybe if I talk to you once a month, then that's a problem. What are you doing in 29 days?
Exactly.
Maybe if in the last year, and maybe we're only 2 hours apart, you've been unable to fly or drive. Like, I get it. There can be a bad situation where it's understandable, but if I know you have the means and you can't go 2 hours,
example,
that's a problem.
We are in a world of a lot of technology. Someone says, I didn't have the time to text you. They have an Apple Watch. They have AirPods on. They have a phone that you're on 24/7, and you're telling me I did not see your text.
How,
bro? If this happened to me, and this was just a friendship kind of thing, like, oh, why don't you see my text? Why don't you whatever? I didn't have time. Turned around the same second while I was sitting there, had about 3 FaceTime calls, multiple texts with people who I want to say have not done as much as I did.
Right.
In terms of coming through for somebody.
Right.
I literally pack up my things and leave. I'm not getting, again, guys, there's a difference between a need and a want. If you are not getting what you need in a relationship, you need to exit. Wants are different. I mean, once it's like, okay, it's not something that I need, but maybe this is not something that he
can afford right now.
So we can. A need cannot be compromised with. She needs communication. She's not getting it out. I need to get married. I'm not getting it out.
Yes.
I don't like, that's why I say don't take a want and put in a need, because you will get wants and you're not getting anything you need. Then at some point, let's say maybe you wake up in a couple of years and you want something else, you'll be like, I mean, we've been doing this.
You are right, because
why should I change?
I just thought of this, because sometimes your wants can actually distract you from your needs. That's a good one. Because sometimes you don't see it because I want you to buy me, I want designer purse. I want a vacation. I want to fly out.
Ignoring
Then
the fact that he's not talking to you.
he doesn't talk to you, and then when he pops up, he gives you gifts or buys these things, and you're just thinking, oh, he loves me so much. He's showing me affection. But you're realizing that girl whose guy isn't buying her the designer bags and stuff, but talks to her every other night, right? Mm-hmm. If she has a flat tire, he's pulling up, or if he's not there long distance, he's called your friends. Hey, did you guys get that resolved? Or, there are things that people do versus you just wanting gifts and that person is just absent. Yes. It's just absent.
If some people, people have different needs. Let's say you need someone to buy you stuff. If that's a need for you and he's not doing it, then you need to move.
Yeah, it can be. It may be superficial, but that's your need.
But it's your need. To somebody else, that could be a little thing like, he didn't buy you yogurt, but maybe to you, you need that yogurt for some reason. So please, people, first of all, you need to establish when you want to be in a serious relationship. You need to establish your needs and your wants, and make sure that someone's meeting your needs. You can have a conversation about wants. You can work towards getting a want. You can. Maybe I don't know when that will happen. I don't believe you can work towards getting a need. But if you want to set yourself for 90% chance for heartbreak, go ahead, which people are doing.
And that's the biggest tale. And that goes with relationships, marriages, or even friendships, platonic, anything. If someone doesn't have time to send you a text or check up on you, but yet the moment you're around them, they are constantly on that phone. Yep. Giggling and texting and answering phone calls. They are ignoring you. They are keeping you on the dark. It's pretty self-explanatory. You don't even need them to tell you in your face. That's just what it is. You
have someone say this, you're just doing too much right now. I am telling you, if you have never picked up your charm, faster, run. What the that just simply means you're where they're not, and you need to figure it out. Why are you not there yet? Yes, or they were there before, and honestly, they've gotten bored of you. It literally happens. People get bored of you, they've seen you too much or whatever. There's no need. If you are worth it and you feel you're worth it, why are you sitting there for someone to be wondering if they want to see you?
True. And I think another tell sign that you know that is done is when that person, you've run out of compromises. Mm-hmm. When you start feeling like I have compromised to the point that I can't. It means now you want me to become a dum-dum. Or for you to be here, that's time for you to leave.
Also, when you're forgiving too much.
Yeah, that's what is compromising.
There's such a thing as forgiving too much. If I forgive you 20 times in 1 week, maybe you need to talk about the fact that you're doing something wrong. And if it's the same crime.
Okay, the difference is just place and time. But it's the same.
It's the same. Like, you didn't learn the first, second, third, fourth, fifth time?
True.
No, that's because you're taking it for granted. You're taking the forgiveness, the love and affection for granted. True. Oh, and I saw this somewhere. The more you forgive, the more you fall out of love. So be careful with sitting there and forgiving 100 times. You wake up one day and this man will pass in front of you and you'll be like, why did I even like him?
Actually, that's true. And it happens not only in those romantic relationships. Even in platonic relationships, it does.
It does. Like,
where you have a friend and you just feel like, I've given and I've tried and tried. How about you try this time?
So I heard a guy went on to talking about it, and the guy was like, she always forgives me. And I didn't know how to tell him, if she forgives you, every time she forgives you, 1% of that love has dropped. Keep doing it. See how far it's going to take you. You can only break my fingers so many times. At some point, the boat can pop back to where. So guys too, because say, oh, that girl is nice. When I do something, she forgive me. And another thing, guys, when a girl stops talking about a problem, she has checked out. Be happy when your girl is not screaming, but complaining about something, she cares. Because me, when I checked out, you're talking, I'm like, I don't have time. I don't want to invest in this because I'm out. So some guys say, that she has stopped talking. Yeah, she's gone. So I'm not,
And it's both ways. And for guys, this thing, it also applies to you guys. Because maybe we are female speaking. It's just like, we are speaking just from the female perspective. For men, it's what Lyri said is pretty much the same thing. If you're speaking to a guy, or a guy has been there and say, hey, stop. You keep going out and coming back at this time and hanging out with these friends of yours. I don't like it. Or you need to spend more time with me and you're not. And then suddenly he stops complaining about it.
Or maybe simply you need to buy us more water.
It could be anything.
And I don't get girls. A guy will tell you,
what I don't like is when you scream in public and you come home, you start washing dishes, you make sure he has breakfast, and you go out the next day and you scream. You come back, you do everything good, you go out the next day and you scream. Girl, did this man tell you he needed any more fufu or his clothes?
No.
He just asked you, and let me tell you something like my smart brother once said. He said,
Our smart brother, by the way.
He said they are basic. They tell you what they want and they need. Stop screaming. Stop screaming. They're like, it's not us girls where they need to read our minds, need to figure out.
Yeah, we are more complex.
They're like, when a guy picks out the things he likes or doesn't like
they're pretty simple.
Screaming.
Guys are pretty simple.
So why do we girls go around and do 360 things when he asks for one thing?
And then at the end we say, well, we did this sacrifice, which is what offense gets to me. Like, why were you sacrificing in a relationship when that person didn't ask for it? One. And then what he asked, you ended up sacrificing all this stuff and you didn't even do what this person asked.
So to him, you never sacrifice anything.
Because, honey, he has a dishwasher to wash
his dishes.
Sweetie, he has DoorDash to eat.
He needs peace.
Sweetie, he has hands.
What he asked from you was peace of mind in public. You went around making fufu and giving. So you wanted to cook the fufu and let him refuse eating it. Then it will be the next issue. So you cook the fufu. He's like, well, you're feeling generous. You're cooking. And then he eats. And then when he says, I'm done. Well, I sacrificed. I will leave work, come back and cook. He's like, I didn't ask you to cook. I asked you to just stop screaming and disrespecting me in public. Disrespect for men, I've figured it out. Before we had this episode, we talked to a collected sample, and disrespect was flowing. Yeah, flowing all through this long distance. They're like, oh, for women tend to disrespect men. You know, like you call a woman and she wants to complain about something on the phone, like long distance or something. She starts insulting him. Instead of saying what it is. Oh, you know what they say? Useless man. This blah, 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 you know, and he insulting. He's like, okay, maybe he truly did something wrong. But now insulting him makes him feel disrespected and then he shuts off. Sometimes that kills and just makes the distance. If it was 2 miles, it just makes it 8 miles. For most men in long distance relationship, when we asked, like if you're in a long distance relationship, what would they say? A lot of men talked about disrespect. They talked about loyalty from women. They said, these days, we girls ain't loyal. I'm like, what? I said, yeah, they were like, we're not loyal these days anymore. You keep a girl and you come back, she's like, well, she's married, but she's in a situationship because her husband is not around.
What?
Yes. Oh yeah. Lini and I asked and we heard that. I was like, what? But yep.
But any last thoughts, remarks about long distance relationships?
Get STD tested. Oh my God.
Oh yes. And
after being away for 3 years, make sure you get
please do.
Yeah, and guys, please protect yourself. We don't want kids out of the marriage when you needed loyalty and this person was relying. Kids out of the marriage also break these relationships.
And as for me, I would say I want to hear the love letters.
All right. So this brings us to the end of our topic for today, and then we are going to jingle into our love letters. Okay, guys. So our very first letter is from Zawidi, and she's from Kenya. Zawidi says, a happy Valentine to my fiancé, Pascal. Hon, I love you and I can't wait for us to start our forever this year. Love you, and again, happy Valentine. Aww, thank you, Zawidi, for being a listener, for participating in our love letter segment. And hopefully Pascal hears your message and you guys have a wonderful Valentine.
Happy Valentine's, boos.
Okay.
The next one is from Pascaline, and she's from Cameroon. And the message she has is, happy Valentine to my brother Valdez, who is in Canada and introduced me to listening to African Teapot.
Nice.
We are orphans and we are each other's parents and best friends. Thank you for fighting for us, being there and doing more than your best. Love you.
Wow.
That was powerful.
And by the way, just a big shout out to your brother for listening to the podcast. We have more female listeners than male listeners. It's great that he not only does he listen, he shares. with you. And thank you guys for sharing your story.
It sounds like you guys have a lot of there's
lot of story,
there's passion, and there's loyalty in that. And we are excited that the podcast is like one more way that you two connect.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's, guys, to both of you. And I mean, keep chatting. Reach out to us. That's sweet. And our very last letter on the podcast, anyways, is from Kevin. And Kevin is from South Africa. He says, Happy Valentine to my new bride, Stacy. I love you to the moon and back. Our soon-to-be addition is a blessing to us. Happy Valentine to you guys. Exie and Lini, you are now a part of our family virtually. Never stop, guys.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. And congratulations, Kevin and Stacy. And I'm assuming
Double congrats.
That's a bundle of joy heading our way because we are family now.
How to start 2023, guys. I'm pumped from these love letters. And I'm glad that the love letters you guys listen, it's not only about lovers, because Pascaline's message to her brother too, that's pretty cool. It's not all about that. And thank you, Kevin, for remembering Lini and I. Of course, we take your well wishes to heart, and it's so warm to hear from you guys. And guys, continue to check us out on Instagram, and hopefully you enjoyed this episode, our very first episode for season 3.
And I know Edna is doing a closing out, and I'm about to just stick my mouth back in here and say one more thing. It's Valentine's. You shouldn't only share love this month, but go out there, share love, reach out to people you necessarily haven't in a long time. Show them that you care, show them you're there. And I feel like every day we should make it a mission to show someone that someone loves them.
Yeah, an affection, even if it's the same person.
And anyways, that's my 2 piece.
All right, guys. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening, and hope you join me for the next episode. You can always reach us via email at africanteapot@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at african_teapot.